What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Techno Trouble here. Today we're continuing the Great Ace Attorney. Now, I finished the Adventure of the Runaway Room right before I had my hiatus. It's been about more than a month. It's been about a month and 2 weeks, and now we're on the Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. I think that's how you pronounce it. The settings, I had stuff happened, I had to move, but I should be able, my mic settings and everything should be good. I'll make sure to double check right after we record this session. So yeah, Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro, episode 4. Let's get it. Opening, not looking at the chapters, I promise. And I remembered case 3 and 2 very well. I remember legitimately nothing about this one. I remember the defendant, and that's like it.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed.
Pretty based.
Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea.
Herbal tea.
Leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back.
Yeah, I remember literally nothing about
in the
this.
Soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
I'm gonna, probably by the time we get finished with the investigation, oh no. Okay, I didn't watch my previous video. I think I remember, I won't remember a lot of their voices. I remember Naruhodo's, I remember Suzuto's. I might be out of practice with it, but Strongheart, his Vortex in the fan version. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a hard reminder. I think it was something like this. Hello. Okay. February 19th, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court Lord Chief Justice Office. I'm pretty sure that is still the longest name. Did you sleep last night, Miss Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, it felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gaslights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Burr, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Were you in the same bed? Among Us sus sound. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, the sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. Sheesh, really? Japan? Drain your economy, bruh. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. Ugh, I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. London is a scary place. Good morning to you at this early hour. Is it? Yeah, there's Strongheart. What a wacky guy. Yes, we are, well. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have to come report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Jo's son is amazing. She didn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with the instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already apprised of events. I've been apprised. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. I don't think that's true. I saw the way racist man Van Zykes was. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. His name is Strong. It's like male Strongheart. Yeah, Maelstrom. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite came to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared, but he died. What more were you hoping for? Oh, and we would catch the real killer. We didn't do that either. Oh, the culpability of the defense is not at the present time been established by this court. Consequently, jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zykes, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Oh no, he's gonna do his breakdown. What a suspicious individual. We all know he did it, right? I don't even know. They probably discuss it at the end of the game, but I never beat the 5th case, just to remind you. I am like 100% certain he is guilty. There's no way. Just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. He's gonna be like, that's not your job, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo. Just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needed to let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Oh. Well, we already examined everything last time. Hey, would you like my armband, my loyalty badge? Lord Strongheart, may I show you this? To accept this item, ensure a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings. Would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time. Hurry? Does the item warrant 24 seconds of my time, Miss Naruhodo? Let's leave it for now. Your animation is long, bro. Music is beautiful in this game. It's just, man, it doesn't get me as nearly as hyped as the other Ace Attorney games, which is really sad. I mean, getting hyped is why I play Ace Attorney. It's like, when Pursuit hits, it just hits, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand. What happened? How could he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yep, that's the one. The one that says Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Yes, of course. That's the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, probably ours, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already. You know, Strongheart, I don't really trust you. I want to say that. You know, playing Ace Attorney has made me figure out that anyone in power is more or less always corrupt. Like, basically always. Few things I can think of that's a lie. That's not true. It's really, any of the non-murdering prosecutors, the judge never did that. Basically all of the big prosecutors murdered somebody. The Chief Justice murdered somebody. Chief Prosecutor framed somebody and hid it for like 2 years. Yeah, I don't think you have a good track record here, Strongheart. Police have identified a corpse found inside the chart because, like, yeah, okay, he loses, but then they always die anyways. Like, who? Like, there's no way it's a coincidence. That sounds like something of fucking Chief Justice who wants justice, quote unquote. He just thinks everyone's guilty and would just murder them, probably. I'm getting ahead of myself. Police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGill. It's awful. The man must have slept inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. Slept inside, not slept. Bailiff really needs to pay more attention. Wasn't he talking to us? And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. I'm pretty sure the bailiff was literally talking to us. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGill did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Oh god. Well, I must be taking tracks now. Just home for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to be examining the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. Inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge, I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intentions of re-examining the carriage. What? Then who was Mr. McGill talking about? Never mind that. Oh no, that's suspicious. No, Mr. Strongheart. No, oh, Maelstrom, not so. Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Or Mr. McGill did. Unless he murdered somebody in that case. Frick that guy. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was, wow! The Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It really is a world apart from our old judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Joe-san is such a way with words. You seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Yeah, you got me. Got me there, you didn't have to hurt me. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. And how you'll completely dismiss it and then carry it on to California. How do I know that exists? The United States? We haven't even established that. Have we? We might have. I don't know history that well. I might have been in advanced honors. But I don't know. Most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate. Their very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't understand that. What does he mean? Is it the fact that he says that because Miguel was gonna die anyways? I don't mean to be contrary. I don't mean to be contrarier, Lord Strongheart, but this case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable with a U verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. I just dropped my water. However, the fact is that You did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. That is not the same thing. That is not the same thing. They can only be attributed to exceptional talent. When you agree... Oh, you're trying to blue suede my shoes, buddy. I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. Not much of at least is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Bum 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 dum 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 dum. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me. It's a murder. The trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did you just read my mind? It's a trait that runs in the family, apparently. That is so. No one has died yet. The trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, 19 seconds to be precise. Ah, so the trial's tomorrow then. Everything all right? Oh, yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that court against Mr. McGill after Mr. McGillet's trial. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There's one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. The situation remains unchanged. The trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. So, like, at least Japan knows knows, you know, state-appointed lawyers. I don't know what they call them in Japan, but I'm pretty sure even they have those. It's not like a law, but it's a practice they at least follow somewhat. It's a law in the US. If that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. I remember the defendant really well. I remember really liking him. Yes, that's right. I assume based on his wacky nature, we'll see him soon, based on his wacky nature, he's going to be really funny in the localization. Here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to make bacon preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There's now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. One more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There's something I should like to ask you? Is that how they say it in England? There's something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something that you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Soki? I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Sumi always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world works so we could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing. Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. Something very important that I have to do. Something important. And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. Suppose he would have done, even if he made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruhodo, what was that all about? Mr. Sogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I bet he's like, I gotta capture the big bad in England. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I take the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of your details. How long has he been there? Oh, he's eating those friggin' chips in a cup. Those friggin' weirdos in England eat. Because they call fries chips, I think, right? Right? I'm not stupid. I think. So I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. Oh god. I'm not good with English accents. I can only make Cockney accents. Something very important I have to do? Kazumi-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, you never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I want to say he looks pleased to see us at all.